Namaskar. Welcome to episode 8 of the Dharma series. In this episode, we will discuss about the second phase of Vedic life, that is the householder phase, which is also called as Grihastha. So in our last video, we have discussed about the student phase of Vedic life. Today we are going to proceed towards the next stage, that is the Grihastha stage. Now, before I begin this presentation, I would advise you to go through episode 7 so that you understand the context for this video. Also, I would like to apologize in advance for the mistakes I will make while pronouncing the words because Sanskrit, when translated to English, is very difficult to pronounce. So, let's go forward into our video on Grihastha, which is the householder phase. So what will we learn in this presentation? Introduction to the Grihastha Ashram. Ashram means the stage of life. So what are the things we will discuss about in this presentation? So householder was the central position. So the in the ashrama theory, the stage of householder is considered the foundation of society. Unlike other ashramas, it produces offspring, supports all stages, and ensures continuity of the race, as emphasized by Gautama and Baudhāyana and also by Manu. So these three munis state that Grihastha Ashram, or the second phase of the Vedic life, is very important because it supports the continuation of the society. Whatever evolutionary duties a human is supposed to do, those duties are done in the phase of Grihastha. We will discuss them as we move forward. Scriptural plays. So, texts like Mahabharata and Dharmaśāstras frequently extol the role of the householder, ranking it highest among the four ashramas. So, according to different scriptures like Mahabharata and Dharmaśāstra, the position of householder is the highest among the four ashramas. Hence, it is considered to be the most important phase in the ashrama structure. The duties of brāhmaṇas, kṣatriyas, vaiśyas, and śūdras within household are clearly prescribed, including Vedic study, sacrifices, protection, wealth, and service. So, in the householder phase, the different castes are there. So, what is the duty of a caste in the householder phase? Those duties are clearly mentioned in different texts. So while a Brahman is in the Grihastha phase, what he should do? While a Kshatriya is in the Grihastha phase, what are his duties? Similarly, for the Vaishyas and Shudras, all these things are clearly prescribed, including Vedic study, sacrifices, protection, wealth distribution, and service. So, all these things are properly mentioned in the scriptures of Vedic period. Moral and ethical conduct. Dharmashastras and Mahabharata provide detailed codes of conduct stressing truthfulness, compassion, non-violence, and generosity. So, what are the virtues a person while going through the Grihastha phase should have? Those are mentioned in the Dharmashastras and also in the epic Mahabharata. So, it provides, all these texts provide detailed codes of conduct. And what are the ethical disciplines which are focused upon? Truthfulness is paid very much importance. Compassion means you should be kind towards others. Non-violence, you should not practice violence unless absolutely necessary. And also generosity, you should donate a portion of your wealth. So these are the moral and ethical conduct which a person should follow in the Grihastha phase. Classification of householders are also there. Manusmriti and Mahabharata classify householders into distinct groups based on livelihood and possession of wealth. So how much wealth you possess, and what kind of livelihood you lead. According to that, householders are divided into different categories. We will see them one by one in our next slides. So, Sage Parāśara warns of attachment, greed, and grief, showing the challenges of worldly life. So, Sage Parashar or Parashar Muni also states that there is a negative side of the Grihastha ashram, because while being in Grihastha ashram, one becomes attached to greed and grief. So, all these things make it difficult for a person to get liberation. Scope of study. This presentation will examine the importance, duties, classifications, codes of conduct, and both the glories and pitfalls of householder life, supported by references from Manu, Mahābhārata, and Dharmaśāstras. So now we will go into details about the Grihastha phase. Householder, Grihastha Ashram. So this is the second phase of Vedic life, where we go through the phase of family life or of the duties of a householder. So view of authorities. Gautama and Baudhāyana consider this stage of householder as the only ashram, since it sustained all others and produced offspring to ensure continuity of race. So if you have gone through the episode 6 of the Dharma series, then you will know that Gautama and Baudhayana considered this phase to be very important, because the depths of life are paid in the phase of householder. What are the depths to life? The duties that you are supposed to do in your life, those are actually done while being a householder. Hence, householder has been called to be, or considered to be, the most important stage. And Gautama and Baudhayana goes a step further by saying that it is the only ashram, means it is the only stage, focusing on the importance of being a householder. Manu emphasized the householder's role as central to sustaining society and religious duties. So, whatever happens in the society is being controlled by the householders. So, Manu also emphasized that all the practicalities of life is done in the phase of householder, hence, it is the most important phase. The Mahabharata frequently praises the Grihastha for duties according to Varnas. So Mahabharata also praises this phase of life because it has duties according to Varnas. What each Varna should do while going through the householder phase has been described in the Mahabharata. Now, what are the duties of a Brahmana in the Grihastha ashram? So, a Brahman, if he baths daily, wears the sacred thread, studies the Vedas, avoids degraded food, speaks truth, and serves his teacher, does not fall away from the abode of Brahma. So it has been stated that a Brahman is supposed to follow certain duties like bathing daily, wearing of the sacred thread, studying of the Vedas, not eating stale or degraded food, always being honest, and serving his teacher. All these are the duties which a Brahmin should do, and he will get a place in the abode of Brahma, means he will be happily liberated. Duties of Kshatriya. A Kshatriya goes to Swarga if he studies the Vedas, maintains Agnihotra fire. Agnihotra fire is a sacrificial ritual, which means household fire, performs sacrifices, protects people, and lays down his life for the Go Brahmanatham. Nartham. Go Brahmanartham means protection of cows and brahmanas. So if A kshatriya. Who are kshatriyas? Kshatriyas are the protectors of the society. The warrior class has been referred to as the kshatriya class. So a kshatriya will go to heaven if he does the following duties, that is maintaining the household fire, which refers to the household worship in everyday life, performing of sacrifices, means helping the progress of spirituality in the society, protection of people, which is the main duty of the kshatriya. And also a kshatriya should give his life for the protection of cows and brahmanas, because cows were the main source of wealth in the Vedic times. And also, Brahmanas were the most respected scholars in the Vedic society. Hence, a Kshatriya should protect cows and Brahmanas even at the cost of his life. Duties of a Vaishya. So a Vaishya is the trading class who does all other activities. So Vaishya enjoys divine happiness after helping Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, dependents, distributing wealth and maintaining three fires. What are the three fires? Garhapatya, Dakshina and Ahavaniya. So these are the three fires which a Vaishya is supposed to maintain. And what are the other duties? Other duties which a Vaishya should do are Brahmanas. They should help the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and all dependents of the society. They should distribute their wealth along with maintaining three fires. So these are the Varna wise duties which has been prescribed in the ancient texts of what a person should do in the Grihastha Ashram. Position of Shudras and the value of householders' life. So what was the position of Shudras? So role of a Shudra attains heavenly pleasures after death if he serves the upper three Varnas and pleases them. So the duty of the Shudra or the labor class was that serving the upper three Varnas. So if a Shudra does that duty properly, then he will attain heavenly pleasures after death. Highest place. Mahabharata and Manu equate the Grihastha life with the highest phase among all four stages of life. So Mahabharata and Manu Smṛti both say that, or both suggest that the Grihastha phase is the highest phase among all four stages of life. Praise in Mahabharata. Householders' role is glorified in the Mahabharata as the essential support for society and dharma. So, householders' phase is the most important phase of life according to Mahabharata. Why? Because it is performing during this phase, one performs the essential practicalities which support the society and in turn supports the dharma. Central duty. Householders ensure sustenance of all āśramas, maintain rituals and secure progeny for social continuity. So householders are the people who moves the society forward and sustain all the other stages of human life. They are also the ones who maintain all the rituals in the Vedic society. Wealth and distribution. Vaishyas particularly praised for wealth distribution and ritual fire maintenance. So Vaishyas are the people who have been praised very much because through their trading activities and all other kinds of common jobs which they did or occupation which they did, they spread their wealth and distributed them almost equally in the society. So for that function, Vaishyas have been praised a lot. Kshatriyas for sacrifice and protection. Kshatriyas are the people who perform the main sacrificial rituals and protect the society from any kind of harm. So Kshatriyas have been praised for their sacrifice and protection. Brahmanas have been praised for Vedic practice and teaching. So Brahmanas were the scholars in the society, and they have been praised very much because they are the continuous of Vedic knowledge. Hence, for their Vedic practice and for teaching the society regarding the Vedic knowledge, Brahmanas have been praised a lot. Universality of the Grihastha. The text present householdership not only as a stage but as a universal duty sustaining religion, economy, and social order. So, what are the duties which the householder maintains? The householder stage is like the skeleton of the society. Why? Because it is a stage through which religion, economy, and social order is maintained properly. So, householder stage is not only a duty, but it is the universality through which the society functions. Comparison with other ashramas. Unlike the other ashramas, Grihastha is practical and directly supports the functioning of the society. So, other ashramas are mainly for spiritual gain and for liberation, but the Grihastha ashram is totally practical and it supports the functioning or continuation of the society through the maintenance of social orders. Pitfalls of the householder's life. Now, here are a few negative aspects of householder's life. I will not say negative, but those are some of the things which hinders your spiritual progress forward in householders life. So what are those things? Parashar has warned a lot regarding this. Mahabharata records Sage Parāśara's description of the dangers of householders life. So Sage Parāśara has described few dangers in the life of a householder. Attachment to objects. Householders developed attachment to cows, land, wealth, wife, sons, and servants. Constant engagement leads to repugnance and forgetting transitoriness. So, as you know, there are four stages in the ashrama theory. That is, what are the four ashramas? First begins with brahmacharya, then grihastha, then vanaprastha, and last sannyas. So once you develop lot of attachment while being in the second stage of ashram, then there will be an hindrance towards transitioning to the next phase of life. So this hindrance has been pointed out by Sage Parashar, where he has said that householders develop attachment towards materialistic things like cows, land, wealth, wives, sons, and servants. So these are the attachments which may prevent a person to transition into the next stage. Influence of love and hate. A man under householder's life is dominated by material considerations and overcome by rati, sexual passion, born of delusion. So a man becomes involved in the happiness of life, in the desires. And so, because of these material considerations, a householder's life is dominated with desires and expectations. So that is a delusion which influences the transition forward in spiritual progress of one's life. Greed and dishonesty. With growing family, a man becomes greedy for money, often earning wealth dishonestly to sustain them. So, when the family grows, a man may become greedy for wealth and to earn money very fast or to get more in a very short period of time, a man may often resort to dishonesty in order to sustain his greed. So that is how greed and dishonesty comes into the life of a householder. Fondness for children. Excessive attachment to children overwhelms the householder. Grief becomes unbearable when a child dies. So, in the householder's phase, the a man becomes very much attached towards the family, especially towards the children, and so he becomes overwhelmed with the love or fondness for children. And in those days many childbirths used to happen, and also children used to die by being in advanced stages of their life also. So thus the grief became unbearable when a child used to die. So fondness for children is also one of the pitfall of a householder's life. Material bondage, desire for possessions, sexual indulgence, and wealth making enslaves the householder, preventing liberation. So, because of all these materialistic desires, one becomes too much involved in passions and desires, which prevents the liberation or moksha in one's life. Cycle of sorrow. Though praised as sustaining society, householders' life exposes one to grief, passion, and delusion, making detachment difficult. So, even though this is the most practical phase of the ashrama, of the Vedic society, but still, it is also the phase where grief can indulge in a person, where a person becomes attached to grief, and thus to detach uh, to detach oneself from the materialistic thing becomes very difficult. Now we will see what are the rules of householders conduct. So what are the things a householder is supposed to follow? Code of conduct. The Dharmasūtras laid down the rules of conduct primarily meant for a householder who is considered the main support of society. So the Dharmasūtras laid down a set of rules which a householder is supposed to follow in order to support the society. Livelihood by proper means. So what are the proper means? The householder was expected to earn wealth by proper means, not resorting to dishonesty. So what are the proper means or occupations through which a householder can earn wealth? Those occupations are agriculture, trade, and industry, especially for the kṣatriyas who had to increase wealth to sustain duties. So Kshatriyas are the protectors of the society, and they spend a lot of money to protect the society. Hence, they had to increase their duties. They had to increase their wealth in order to do their duties. Thus, mainly livelihood by proper means have been prescribed for the Kshatriyas. Expenditure norms. They were advised to spend one third of their income on dharma. So, what are the religious things they should do? They should practice religion, sacrifice, and charity, and that should be done with one third of their income. So, one third or 33% of their income should go towards the dharmic practices. The next one third should go on livelihood, which is artha, and the last one third on enjoyment, which is kama. So kama means pleasures or to get enjoyment. Kama, there is a negative view in today's world that kama means something related to sexual pleasure. No, kama means what are your desires. It can be desire for money, it can be desire for knowledge, it can be desire for fame. Everything is calm. So calm means enjoyment. Hospitality principle. A householder must not hoard wealth but spend it generously. So, if you are preserving your wealth, then you are hoarding wealth. That is not allowed or that is not advised in a householder's life. So, a householder must not hoard wealth but he should spend it generously for the society, offering food to guests and others. Since hospitality or Atithi Seva was considered a primary duty. So, hospitality or to take care of your guest is the primary duty, hence, you should spend money on hospitality. Divided broadly into two groups. So householders have been divided into two groups. The first group is Shalina, those who lived on broad income sources like agriculture and trade. So these are the people who lived on mainly agriculture and trade. And then there is Oshalina. Oshalina are the people who had limited incomes through restricted means. So you can say that the Grihastha people who were rich and had proper income were Shalina Grihasthas, and Ashalina Grihasthas were the people who had restricted means of income. Manu's classification. Manu has classified the householders into four types. So one who lives on gifts. One who lives on gifts is called as Ayavara. So Yayavara is the person who lives on gifts from others or donation from others. One who subsists by teaching Vedas, Shalina. So this category has comes under the Shalina class of householder, where one is a teacher. What does he teach? One teaches Vedas. One who neither officiates nor teaches. Yugandhara. So Yugandhara are the Grihastha people who neither officiates nor teaches. And the last classification or the last category is one who picks grains left in the fields. Shilonchana. So Shilonchanas are the people who pick up grains from the fields and spend their livelihood or uh, earn their livelihood through that means. So thus the Dharmashastras and the Smritis provide the rules of householders' conduct. Conduct and duties of householders according to Mahabharata. So, what are the duties of householders which have been prescribed in the Mahabharata? So, further classification is there in the Mahabharata. Mahabharata refines householders into four groups. So, according to Mahabharata, the Grihastha phase people have four categories. One who possessed as much as would satisfy needs for 3 days. So, one who has wealth required to satisfy oneself for 3 days. One who possessed enough to fill a granary. So, these are the richer people. One who lived from field for or threshing floor after grains were removed. So, one who used to pick the leftovers. One who picked up grains like a bird. So these are the four categories of householders according to Mahabharata. Code of all Varnas. Mahabharata adds a general code of conduct for all householders. What are those code of conduct? Now this does not differ according to Varna. These are the things which all householders from all Varnas are supposed to follow. That is truthfulness, satya, non-violence, ahimsa, purity, non-covetousness or aparigraha, compassion and self restraint. So these are the qualities which every householder from every varna are supposed to follow. Moral duties. Prohibited actions included non returning of deposits. So sometimes people used to borrow money and uh, forget about returning. So, thus, that practice was prohibited. Non payment of debts, hurting wives, accepting gifts wrongly, and indulging in excessive luxury. So these are the things prohibited in Mahabharata. Even though householders phase is the phase of practicality and materialistic attachment, still you cannot do all these things. That is non-payment of debts, hurting your partner or wife, accepting gifts wrongly, like forcing someone to pay you something or to give you something, and indulging in excessive luxury is prohibited according to Mahabharata. Restrictions on food. Abstinence was prescribed from honey, meat, and food touched by impure persons. So, few things it is prescribed not to eat, that is, honey and meat, according to Vedic tradition. And if an impure person touches your food, then you should not consume that food also, emphasizing on ritual and physical purity. So, your food or your consumption should be ritualistic and physically pure. Hospitality and generosity. A good householder gave food to teachers, dependents, guests, and animals, generating happiness and merit. And this merit has been prescribed or has been called as punya. So you can get merit or divine punya through the activities like giving food to teachers, those who depend on you, taking care of guests and animals. Thus, you will generate happiness for the society. Ethical balance. A householder was expected to maintain balance between spiritual duty, material prosperity, and compassion for others, thereby upholding dharma for the society. So, these are the code of conduct and duties which has been described for the Grihastha phase of life according to the Mahabharata. So, what are the sources of information? I am mentioning these sources so that you can go through it for verification, and also if you want to add something, please post it in the comments. Manusmriti described the duties and centrality of the householder. It also classifies householder into four types based on livelihood. Mahabharata explains the duties of varnas in household life. Mahabharata also praises the householder's role in the society. It places the householder highest among the ashrams. Mahabharata also records Sage Parāśara's warning about attachment and grief. Mahabharata classifies householders into four wealth based groups. In the epic, it has also been laid down with a general code of conduct for all varnas. Dharmaśāstras emphasize proper earning, spending, and duties of hospitality. Dharmasūtras prescribe livelihood rules, division of income, and ethical living. Gautama Dharmasutra uphold householder as the only ashrama. This point is very important. Baudhāyana Dharmasutra stresses the importance of the householder's stage. So that was all about the Grihastha phase of ashram. We have gone through the different authorities or the different sources who consider the stage of householder as the only ashram because it sustained all others and produced offspring which ensures continuity of the society. We have also seen how Manusmriti elaborated the concept of Grihastha phase as the role which is central to sustaining society. Mahabharata also provides the code of conduct for the Grihastha phase, a general code of conduct for all varnas, and frequently praises this phase of ashram. Duties according to Varna has been prescribed in many texts like duties of Brahmana, duties of Kshatriya, duties of Vaishya also. We have also seen the position of Shudras in the Grihastha phase and how the wealth should be distributed in the society, and how the Vaishyas take care of it. So that was all for today. Please go through the other videos so that you have a better understanding of this. In our next video, we will discuss about the Vanaprastha phase of ashram life. So stay tuned until then. And if you have any extra information, you can add it in the comments. Thank you so much for your support.